What is going on, YouTube? Chris Pearson here. I posted a schedule for you guys on my channel about what is to come on this channel in the coming weeks. Now that the regular season is over, I know some of you are still playing fantasy football. Some of you might do like the Fantasy Football Playoff Challenge on CBS Sports or maybe the NFL.com playoff challenge, and that's cool. But I think a lot of those now have gone to a kind of pay system, a system where it costs money now to play a lot of those. So there's a lot of free ones out there anymore. So I'm not doing any for the playoffs. But I just want to let you guys know, as I posted on the schedule, what is to come in the coming weeks and months ahead for the channel while during the off season. I know last off season I mentioned in the first video to start this year for the FFSR, I didn't do a whole lot with the channel during the off season, but I want to change that. I want to do a little bit more on the channel as the days and weeks go ahead in the off season. So what I want to do, obviously, I'm still going to do the Tracking the Madness series. I'm going to do that as I've done. I love being a bracketologist and kind of projecting where I think the field's going to be every year. So I'm going to do that. My first video and projection on that I'm planning to do next week. I'm planning to start the projection that week, is now really getting into the meat of the conference season for basketball. And I think really that's the best time to really start evaluating teams. It's not what you do in your non-conference as much as what you do during your conference schedules. Now that we're starting to get conference games going, I'm going to start doing bracket projections next week, and then I will share with you guys, as soon as I get my first bracket projection up, I'm going to share it with you guys here for Tracking the Madness. So I'm going to do that. I'm also going to do, also next week, I'm going to do my personal lists of the best, worst, and most disappointing video games of 2013. Now, little disclaimer on this before I before I actually will post it next week. How I really rate these games, I mean, let me say this. I'm a gamer, but I'm not a big-time gamer. I'm not like a hardcore, big-time gamer. I kind of really take my evaluations as to, A, what I've read on reviews. I'm a huge Angry Joe Show fan. I'm a follower of his. I love his videos, love his reviews, love his rants. I am a huge fan of Angry Joe, so I don't know if he watches my channel, but but I'm a huge fan of his, and I kind of take what he puts out as well, and stuff from other game sites, IGN, all that kind of thing, the VGA awards, the E3. I watch E3 every year to see what comes out. So I'm really now a big follower of this stuff. So the way I rate mine, I chart sales throughout the year on these games that hit the shelves, and I look at games that have. I follow Insomniac Games on Twitter. I'm a huge fan of Insomniac, the Ratchet & Clank series. So I really take a look at all these game companies, see what they're putting out. So that's how I did my list this year, the past couple years. Based on game sales, hype, whether or not they had a lot of hype or not so much hype involved, whether they were expected to do more and didn't. So that's how my lists are going to be. So if you don't agree with the list, hey, that's fine. If you don't think that a game should be on there, that's okay too. But just kind of give you a heads up as to how I rate them, so that way you're knowledgeable ahead of time as to what my perspective is on best, worst games, coming from kind of a mid, not hardcore gamer. It's more of a mid gamer. I only play a couple genres of games myself. I'm only kind of sports and racing. That's always been my thing. I grew up on the Sonic the Hedgehog games. I grew up on the anything Sony Genesis. Then I briefly had a 64, PlayStation 1, this kind of stuff. So I would play NHL hockey. I would play NCAA March Madness. I'd play NCAA football. So that's more my thing. Madden. I love Madden. So that's kind of more of the games that I'm into. So that's how I'm going to do that for that video, which will be next week, along with the first Tracking the Madness video. But before we actually get into what this video is about for you guys, I actually want to do a big reveal. I want to actually reveal to you guys what I've been hinting at also for weeks, and that is the brand new web series that I'm doing on here. I have given this a lot of thought. I've given this a lot of perspective, and actually, it kind of came, though, when I read an article online. I was just browsing ESPN.com one day, and I was looking over at all the sports articles, and it read on there that the Jacksonville Jaguars were already, and which you guys know is a team that I have harped on continuously. It was one of my continuing themes of last year. I've always said 3 guarantees in life: death, taxes, Jaguars suck. I've always said it right here. It's kind of been the recurring theme of the show. But the Jaguars were starting to scout quarterbacks, which to me, I 100% agree with, because I honestly feel that they can do a lot better for their fans, for the city, for the owner, for all of that in Jacksonville. With Blaine Gabbert and Chad Henne are not their futures. I mean, I'm here to say it honestly. It's not worth it. So I read that article and I gave it some thought, and I have finally decided, and this is, I hope I'm going to try and make this as fun as possible, but I'm going to do this because I want to kind of be a helper. I'm going to help the Jaguars out, okay? We here at here on the channel, we are going to start a web series called The Jaguars Quarterback Quest. What I'm going to do, starting in early February, I'm going to look at the complete list of quarterbacks for the draft class. We're going to look into them, and then I'm going to really kind of do a full research on each of these guys. What I'm probably going to want to do is take maybe 3 or 4 guys, profile them in each video. No matter how long it takes to get through, I'm hoping that it will take up the whole month of February leading up to the draft in April. I'm hoping to really delve into this, and I really want to go gung-ho on this. I really do. I mean, not just because I want to help the Jaguars, but just because I think it's fun. I want to really take a look at what it's like to be an NFL scout evaluator. I want to see what that process is like. So we are going to take a look at that. And so again, I'll look at the entire list of the guys, of the quarterbacks that are in this year's draft class, because it is very deep. It is a very deep class this year, and that's what's exciting about the upcoming draft, because there are so many good quarterbacks coming out this year. Yesterday you had Johnny Manziel announce his intent. Blake Bortles of UCF is coming out. Teddy Bridgewater of Louisville. So Taj Boyd of Clemson. So there's a whole lot of guys that are going to be coming out. So I'm going to look at all these guys and evaluate them. I'm going to look at their intangibles, their pros, their cons. I'm going to look at game film. I'm going to try to break down each of these guys really, really hard, and hopefully we can pinpoint. Hopefully, I don't know if the Jaguars will watch this video. I don't know, but hey, at least I'm trying to make an attempt. I don't want to be the one 10, 20 years down the line, an old man saying, hey, I remember the time when I harped on that Jacksonville Jaguars team. They were terrible for all these years, and every time on my video, I would just go after them, and it was fun. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be the guy that keeps, hurting Jacksonville. I don't. I like Florida. I like Florida State. Florida's a great state to go on vacation. I live in cold Indiana. There's 10 inches of snow on the ground right now. The last few days I was stuck in this house with negative 40-degree wind chills. You think I enjoy that? No. So Florida is very nice. So I don't want to be that guy. Chris Pearson, that guy. I don't want to be that guy who keeps saying, Jaguars suck, Jaguars suck. I don't want to do that. I read that article and I immediately thought, hey, there's the idea for my new web series. I want to help them out. They deserve better. They deserve better than just a few guys with talent. They deserve better. This is the NFL. This is the National Football League. You expect to have the best players on your team. You're one of 32 National Football League franchises. You can't be a laughingstock every single week. I mean, that's embarrassing. And the Houston Texans, I'm sure, this year feel the same way. Losing 14 straight games? That's terrible. So, you know, I want to help out. I want to help these teams out at least starting with Jacksonville this year, and maybe we'll do a different team each year. I don't know, but this is a start. This could be the start of something really big, and I want to at least get it off the ground. So starting in early February and hoping to go through all the way to the month of April, we're going to be looking at quarterbacks. We're going to be, like I said, probably try to get 3 or 4 in each video, show their pros, their cons. We're going to be looking at game film of these guys. I'll take a lot of notes and a lot of research, and hopefully we can, kind of get a pinpoint of what would work. And I'll even say if their system's going to work in Jacksonville, because Jacksonville is a very balanced team. They got Jones-Drew at running back, but the thing of it is, Maurice Jones-Drew is going to test free agency, so he might not even be back in Jacksonville next year. So there's a lot of uncertainty involving that. What's the future of Justin Blackmon, Mr. Stupidity, who keeps flirting with alcohol and drugs? What's going to be his future? So right now, really, when you think about it, if Jones-Drew leaves and if Blackmon isn't going to stay there, the only talent they have is Cecil Shorts at receiver. So they deserve better than this. They have a $1 billion owner now in Khan. They have a great stadium. They're going to make improvements to the stadium. Jacksonville deserves better than this. They deserve better than this. They deserve better to be harped on by me, random YouTube guy, every year and every show for their performance on the field. No, they deserve better than that. And I want to be a guy now that's going to help them instead of hurt them. I don't want them to be the butt of my joke anymore. I read that article and it was like, pull, twist. I immediately felt bad. I felt, wow, they're really desperate. They're really trying hard now to get better. They know that they deserve better than what they have. For gosh sakes, I could have said a joke on here that Jackson DeVille could be the number 2 wide receiver. And you know what? I would have laughed. But now looking back at it, it's like, no, they deserve better than what they have. I read that and I thought to myself, what am I doing being so mean? What am I doing being so mean to Jaguar Nation, to the state of Florida, to the city of Jacksonville? What am I doing? So no more. I want to help them out. So the Jaguars quarterback quest is going to begin early February. I'm going to immediately start looking at the list of guys, looking at that draft class, and taking notes, studying game film, and hopefully early February. Not sure of a set date yet, but I'll keep you guys updated on that. We're going to get the first video out for the first few guys. So that's the big web series that's coming soon to this channel, very, very soon. So Jacksonville fans, rejoice, because I'm helping you now. I'm hopefully going to help you in some way. And if you don't even see or watch this video, that's okay, because I know you guys are going to try hard. Again, you're an NFL franchise. You're going to want to get better. You're going to try to get better. So just we're going to try. We're going to at least make an effort here to get you guys going. We're going to look at the quarterback options just to try to make you guys better. So that's what we're doing in February. So again, in weeks and months to come, tracking the madness, best, worst, disappointing video game list. That's next week. And then early February, the Jaguars quarterback quest. So that's where the channel stands from here on out. But in this video, what I want to do is kind of take a look back, a retrospective back of the 2013 season. Now, I was planning to do kind of a big mashup of clips and stuff, but here's the thing. That is a long process. It's not like I have a team of people to do that, to put my clips together and mash them up into one big thing and edit them. So, because it's just me, and I've been snowed in the past few days, and I've had cabin fever, so I've been living on what I can alone. So so in the end, I feel it'd be really time consuming. So all I wanted to do is I kind of watched the clips back and of all the clips of the year, and I just kind of picked out a few of my favorite moments from the year. The rants, the lighthearted moments, the things that happened on the show. That really kind of stood out to me, that made the show fun. Here's the reason why I do this. I've probably said this on here before. I do it not only for the love of the game, but I do it to help you guys out. Again, I've said on here, fantasy football is starting to become one of the biggest rising industries out there. Matthew Berry of ESPN mentions it all the time. It's starting to become one of the biggest things out there. So it's just fun for me to do. It's a fun thing to share with you guys my thoughts on who's doing well, who's not doing well. Share my thoughts on my team. Get the other co-owners involved, which happened a lot, which happened a couple times last year, which was very fun. So and that's why I do it, and it's just so fun to share that experience with you guys. So again, I just want to say again, you guys have made this channel what it is. So thank you so much again for subscribing, for the viewing, for any comments you posted. I appreciate it a lot, and I just thank you guys for another outstanding year of the FFSR. We had a lot of laughs, a lot of moments, a lot of just great things. But I picked and chose a few of these moments that I remember from the year that were at least funny or special to me, that made this year enjoyable. And then after I share these with you guys, I'm also going to kind of do my choices for my team's postseason awards on here as well. Just some big guys I thought came through for me and did well. Now, I don't know if I share with you guys the end result of my team's season. I ended up going 11-6 this year with the Dragon Wings. We came in second in our division. We were by a half game behind the Redbirds. We lost to them twice in the regular season, not by very much margin either. But we made at least competitive with them in the final weeks. Now, we made the playoffs, as I said on here. We were the number 4 wild card team, but we beat the Redbirds in the semifinal week of the season. We finally beat them after 2 losses to them. We beat them in week 15. So we went to the championship game at 12-5, and we are 12-5, 11-5. No, hang on, I gotta think now because record-wise, we only played 14 games. Record-wise, I was 11, no, 10-5. No, 10-4. 10-4 regular season. I was 11-5 for the whole year. So 10-4 regular season. Then we beat Redbirds, so we get to 11-4, and then we played the championship game. We were playing a really hot team coming into the title game. We were playing Team Lee, a really good team that had won, I believe, 7 or 8 straight coming into the final. And our guys just completely disappointed in the final game, which has happened to us in the past. Vernon Davis put up a giant donut in the title game, mostly because he apparently got something in his eye and wasn't the same player. So we lost the final. We lost 78-62 to Team Lee. So congrats to them for a great season, 9 wins in a row. Hey, he picked up Alshon Jeffrey late in the year, and he had him with Brandon Marshall, and that was too much to overcome. And I admitted on here that I made a big mistake when I gave up on Alshon Jeffrey. So what are you going to do? I didn't think he'd break out. So my bad. So but that's kind of what can happen when your guys don't come through for you when you do very well. That's what can happen. So that is what it is. But it only fuels our desire even more to compete harder next year. And again, we said on here, I think all 3 of us, myself, Nate, and Matt included, can agree on this. We all felt at the beginning of the year that this was going to be a very strong year. Now, I didn't think it'd be the best regular season record ever in in franchise history. I don't think we ever expected that performance to happen. But at the end of the day, is he stopped? Hang on. No. Okay. There's just these cars. These cars are going. Sorry about that. These cars are going really slow down the lane. It's like, what's going on? It's probably just because of the road conditions. But anyway, we knew from the start that that we were going to have a strong team. Not because of our drafting strategy, but some of the guys we got later on down the line, the moves we made. So that all in turn led up to a very strong year. So, it's just kind of, frustrating. It's kind of, again, I've said it on here. We're kind of like the Peyton Manning of fantasy football. We've had such good teams over the years. We only have one title to show for it. So But you know, that's fantasy. That's the way the game works. Sometimes your guys don't step up for you when you need them to, and there's really nothing you can do. You put the best team out there that you have, and sometimes your guys can fall flat on their face. So, but that's the love of the game, though. That's why we play the game. You know, that's why we play, because you know there's that desire to win, desire to make the right moves, desire to get the right guys, and just put together a good team. So hopefully the three of us can do that again next year. We'll sit down. Now we haven't had a chance to sit down together as a group to do our team awards yet, and we will. But I just want to share on here the picks that I'm going to make when we do the whole voting together for our postseason awards. So we'll probably do that this coming Sunday. I want to share it with the guys this coming Sunday. We'll sit down, we'll talk, and we'll hash out our overall award picks together for the season on all our spots. I come up with several categories of different spots for the awards, and then I have a list of candidates, and then we pick the one guy we think gets the award. So so I'll share those on here, and then we'll just look forward to next year. It's really all we can do. Okay, favorite moments from 2013 FFSR. These are some of these. You know, I really couldn't narrow them down. I just had to watch each video and scan through and see which ones. I mentioned, of course, the overlying theme. You know, harping on the Jaguars all year. That kind of leads to the first thing. But the moments in the videos. The preview show where Nate had the cameo phone call. Again, we didn't plan that. Okay, we didn't expect that to happen. You know, I didn't expect that to happen. I was popular that day. I'm watching that video back. I'm going like, I remember one point I said, "Boy, I'm popular today." You know, I was getting these numbers I didn't recognize. I was getting texts. I was getting, and I had it on. I didn't have it on vibrate. I had it on loud, but I was getting phone calls, and then all of a sudden I see Nate's number, and Nate's calling in, and so it was kind of a weird thing where Nate was just able to call at the right time when I was recording the show. So that was always fun, and then I guess that led to what happened down the line when Nate wanted to be on the show, and then he actually got to be on the show, and it was a lot of fun. So that was definitely really cool. Talking about it right after our draft strategy and all that. So that was a cool moment that happened. Harping on Mike Wallace, you know, there were a lot of times this year, the first week, I really lit into Mike Wallace. I really took a lot of, I really ripped into him for him taking the money, going to Miami from Pittsburgh and all that. And then, there was the comment I made on the Monday special in week 11, Mike Wallace sucks balls this year. You guys saw it. I screamed at the camera, and then I rehashed it in week 12 when I said that, I'm eating a little bit of crow for that one, because apparently Mike Wallace watches my videos, and he went off with a big week when I said that he sucks balls. So, there you go. I mean, I don't know what else to say about that, but that happened, and so, here's the thing with Mike Wallace, is he going to get better in Miami? I hope so. I hope that he becomes more of a consistent threat and the number one option in Miami. But right now, Miami is just a mess. They need to clean house, and they have. They've already fired their offensive coordinator. They got rid of their GM after 6 seasons, so they're starting to clean house. So we'll see what ends up happening to the rest of the team as a result of that. But I had a lot of fun with Mike Wallace this year. Let's just say that. 60 minutes on Mike Wallace. There you go. I don't know about 60 minutes, but at least a good chunk of time ripping into Mike Wallace. Oh, and there were a lot of moments where I really emphasized not touching players. Like for week 1, like the Steelers running backs, I went, no, don't touch this. I said that a lot. I said that, or don't do that, or don't do that. I did that a lot this year with guys, because the Steelers running back situation in week 1 was such a mess because Le'Veon Bell got hurt, and then and so they had a skeleton crew running back group of I think it was Isaac Redman and Jonathan Dwyer and LaRod Stevens Howling. So I was just like, no, don't touch them. Don't touch this. No. Like the MC Hammer. Don't touch this. Don't do that. So those were funny to look back at it and see all those moments. That was a lot of fun. The injury bug. Anytime the injury bug hit, that was always fun, especially week 2, when I said there's a little bee or gnat flying around, and oh, it stings us. It stings us this week. That was a fun intro to week 2, talking about the injury bug. That was a lot of fun. The injuries really did affect a lot of players this year. It was kind of stunning to see how many injuries there actually were this year in fantasy football that affected a lot of players in a lot of situations. So I don't know if it was a more average injury year than usual, but at least to me it seemed like it, because it seemed like every single week or almost every other week we were talking about players with injuries, either season-ending injuries or short-term injuries, or the injury bug was definitely very prevalent this year. So that was fun. This one hurts a little bit. I mentioned it, being wrong on Alshon Jeffrey. My bad. I take, again, I said it in week 2. I take full heat for that. I had drafted Alshon Jeffrey early in the year, and I thought, and I thought I was gonna. I stashed him on my bench, thinking, okay, maybe he'll break out, maybe he won't. 2 weeks into the season, he's doing nothing. He's getting no targets. He's stinging like crazy. He's Brandon Marshall's getting all the work, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, are you even going to throw to this guy? Do they even know that he's on the roster? I mean, it was such a disappointment. And usually I give players 2 to 3 weeks to see what they're going to do, and if they're not doing anything, then I ditch them. So it was kind of tough then to see as the season went on that all of a sudden Alshon Jeffrey started getting more targets from Cutler. Then he started getting major targets from Josh McCown. And then it's like, whoopsies, I might have been a little wrong on that one. So I take full heat for that. I was totally wrong on Alshon Jeffrey. Obviously now the future with him looks very bright, as long as they just signed Jay Cutler to a 6 or 7 year whopping $1 million money deal, whatever, cha-ching. So cha-ching, bada bling. So hey, it looks like it's going to be nice things for Alshon Jeffrey moving forward, but I was wrong on him this year. My bad. The Redskins, I mean, every time I mention them, the butter defense, I mean, it just kind of became their namesake, you don't want to call them by the team name anymore. Some people don't. So, I just kept, it just became kind of a recurring joke, it kind of became a thing, where it was just, oh, this is a dream. This is a dream matchup for them, Oh, that's cool. They're showing the best available video right now on ESPN about Jacksonville, as I mentioned here, the Jaguars jumping off the light tower. I got to watch that video, by the way. The rope climbing and the stuff that he does. That's pretty cool. I got to watch that video, by the way. But anywho, butter defense, it just, again, it kind of became a recurring joke, a recurring gag, because the Redskins defense was so terrible, and then we said it about the Cowboys because they were terrible, and a lot of defenses this year were just straight up bad. The Jaguars, the Redskins, the Cowboys, the Saints at times were bad, the Vikings were bad. There's just a lot of bad defenses we harped on. Of course, the Bears we mentioned in the Monday special. So it was just, they were just bad. So the Redskins, and again, I mentioned on here as well, don't pin the blame on RG3. It was the defense. They were bad. The Redskins got a new coach today. They just hired Jay Gruden from the Bengals. So good job for them. So yeah, don't take it out on RG3. Just don't. That's it was really stupid. So don't take that out on them. Also in week 2, another funny thing, when I did all the Olbermann references, hello, salute your shorts, playing with toys, what can I say? I love Keith Olbermann. I grew up on Keith Olbermann on ESPN, okay? I loved watching him in the 90s, him and Charlie Steiner and Dan Patrick and all the old school ESPN guys. Of course, Chris Berman's still there today, but a lot of the old school ESPN guys, I love those guys. I watch Olbermann's show now. I'm a huge fan. of Keith Olbermann. So again, it kind of rolled off as a natural thing there that I was doing those references, but it's fun. I like interpreting those things into the show. You know, the Keith Olbermann stuff. That's just being a fan of Olbermann. You know, the Monty Ball talk. You know, the disappointment that he was. Again, I think it's one of my bigger disappointments of the year. The drafting of Monty Ball and the way that he didn't work out, you know, in Denver, and then they eased him in later in the year, and the rock paper scissors thing with the Denver running backs. That was just funny. I mean, that whole situation was just funny. The media thought it was funny. I thought it was funny. So it was funny, and you know, and Moreno turned out to get the bulk of the work in Denver. But as for the future of the Denver running backs, who knows? I mean, really, honestly, who knows? My week 3 rant with running backs and D'Angelo Williams. Again, I watched that back and I'm like, really? I went on a rant about D'Angelo Williams? Yes, I did. I went on a rant about D'Angelo Williams and how the media was saying he sucks and his blocking sucks and all this stuff. And I said, no, D'Angelo Williams doesn't suck. Stop saying he sucks. Stop saying his blocking sucks. He was the only running back they had in Carolina that week, except for Cam Newton, who knows who we know we can run. You know, Jonathan Stewart was out till week, I said 7. You know, he was the only back, and everyone was saying he sucks, he sucks, he sucks. I kept reading sucks, 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 sucks. I needed to stop the suck, okay? I needed to stop, just shut the suck up, and literally, and just stop and quiet those people, because D'Angelo Williams was the only thing they had in Carolina. So, looking back on that, that was fun. That was funny. And I talked about running back committees. I talked about committees in that week that really worked and didn't work. And again, I love the running back committees that work, that have a ground and pound guy and then a change of pace guy. I mentioned these guys all year: Danny Woodhead, Darren Sproles, Joyke Bell. These guys that Andre Ellington in Arizona, another example. So these guys that have these 2 running backs that complement each other and work very well. So I emphasized that a lot this past year, and I still probably will in the years to come, because again, these guys are huge for fantasy references as well. The quarterback saga in Houston. Well, that was a fun story to talk about. That was really fun. You know, with Case Keenum and, you know, Matt Schaub and T.J. Yates and Case Keenum, who's going to be the guy? And the guys, I went on a full-fledged rant about the guys that were trespassing outside Schaub's house and chasing him down, which was just stupid, and booing or cheering him when he was hurt. That was also stupid. I mean, so they've said in Houston now that Case Keenum is going to be their guy going forward, which I definitely very much applaud, and just hope that something gets straight situated in Houston going forward. Now, Houston, because they've said that, I would be shocked if they draft quarterback number 1 or if they trade that number 1 pick this coming year. So keep an eye on that as well, talking about the draft. So, but yeah, that was definitely a interesting story to talk about too. Week 6, the video from Week 6 had a lot of intriguing stuff. I opened with the intro about Fantasy Nirvana. That just came out of nowhere because I had such a good week the week prior. I had 144 points. I never have put up that much points in a sitting. So that was just kind of a thing that just kind of came from nowhere, talking about, you ever had that week of Fantasy Nirvana? All these points, your players' points going up and up and up and up, and it was, you know, it was fun. So I definitely liked opening with that. The Patriots radio call, that was another thing that I mentioned in that video, that you had to listen to the radio call of that touchdown catch by the Patriots to Tompkins against the Saints. that was fun. You know, unicorn, show ponies, you know, where's the baby? You know, that thing was fun to talk about too. Just sharing that and that experience, because again, you don't normally have an announcer get that excited over a play, but he was. I mentioned the Matt Schaub rant about him, and another thing, and I saw this kind of in the middle of that Week 6 video, and I don't know, and no one made a comment on this. I don't know if anybody noticed it or not, or even cares, but I noticed it, so I cared. During that show, I'm taking a break and I'm drinking something. I think it was iced tea, I think it was, or sweet tea or something like that. and I didn't at the time, I didn't have regular cups. Now I have the red Solo cups, but I didn't have regular cups. So all I could find in the store was these little tiny like Dixie-sized cups, and the cup as I'm drinking it, the cup has little flowers and butterflies on it, and I didn't want people to imply the wrong thing there. Honestly, I was thinking as I was watching that someone's gonna scream out, "Nice flower and butterfly cup guy." I mean, but, I, but no, as I'm watching that and I'm like, really, that was just totally embarrassing. I need to get regular cups, but I do now. So, but that was I noticed it. I don't know if anyone else noticed it, but I noticed it. So I had to throw that in there just for fun. From week 7 video, Vikings are bad. I mean, this again was off the Monday night game where Tirico was talking about the Vikings and the Giants and they were just how he played the two teams that played a really bad quarter of football, and he emphasized the word bad. Okay, I will say that again. He emphasized it. He said bad. I mean, he emphasized it. I had to like rewind it and play it back numerous times to make sure. Yeah, he emphasized the word bad. I mean, he put emphasis on the word bad. It was just funny. For him to say how bad that they were at that time, and they were. The Vikings and Giants were really just two bad football teams this year, so they were bad. And then when I mentioned the Cleveland Browns quarterback jersey, again, it is one of the funniest things that I've seen. I don't know how you're able to do that on a football jersey. To put 20 different names of Browns quarterbacks since 1999 on one jersey, but again. Google image it if you have not yet. It is funny. It is hilarious. Again, it starts with Tim Couch, and then the name gets crossed out, and you got a piece of tape on there, and it's a new name, new name, new name. It is funny. It is just funny. You've got to take a look at it. It's hilarious. And now it ends with Jason Campbell. So 20 different starting quarterbacks since 1999. That is painful if you're a Browns fan. Maybe I should do my quarterback series on Cleveland. I don't know, but yeah, it's funny. Week 8, the Halloween episode. I mean, again, this is always one of my highlight moments because, again, I just have so much fun with it. I was really debating what to do for Halloween this year up to the weeks ahead. I was really kind of flip-flopping between a couple options, and then I found online that the Mordecai costume that I wore during the show, and I really didn't know how to play it up. Last year, the year before, I did with Rainbow Dash from the My Little Pony series with the whole hoodie wearing it, but you could see my face. Now, with this, you couldn't, so I didn't know how to play that up. I didn't know if I wanted to speak with a regular voice wearing the mask or if I wanted to do it in character. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to do it in character. I'm going to have fun with it. So I pretended like, that Mordecai was filling in for me, and I was doing the Mordecai voice and his expressions and his mannerisms and all that. And that's a lot of fun. So I have a lot of fun with that, with it. And so next year, again, I'm not sure what I'm going to do for Halloween yet, but if you have any suggestions, let me know. Maybe throw some ideas out there. I've debated a lot of things, but I'll take a look into it as I always do when the time gets closer. But I always have fun with the Halloween episode because it's a blast. It's a lot of fun. Week 9, the Philly quarterback situation. We had a lot of quarterback drama this year with a lot of teams, but the Philly thing. I always reiterated on here that I did not want Michael Vick to take another snap the rest of the season at that point when Nick Foles was getting hot, and thankfully, finally, they made Nick Foles a starter the rest of the year. So, hey, at least what I said had some emphasis on what happened in Philadelphia. So, good for me, I guess. But I was, that thing, that story was just so nuts. And also, there's a lot in week 9. Brandon Weeden, I emphasize again the fact that he was old and he was pushing 30. He is 30 and he plays like he's 30. I mean, I harped on that all year. Poor Brandon Weeden and poor Cleveland. They need a fresh start again as well. But I harped on the fact that he was 30. Hey, and I can't say much in a few years to come because pretty soon I'm going to be 30. So, so I can't say much, but a 30-year-old quarterback in the NFL you don't see very often. So just that's why I kind of harped on it so much. The Chicago quarterback drama, I talked about that with Cutler and McCown and that situation, with Cutler being healthy and all. So, I'm not a starter. When I'm on his radio show, I'm the starter. I don't think I'm going to play. I'm not the starter. We didn't know what was going to happen there. The Dolphins situation, the teal and orange blob, that was fun to talk about. The big electron, whoa, all these things are happening in Miami, with that. I never got to do the video that I wanted to do with Incognito and Jonathan Martin. I didn't really have time to talk about it, but in short, I mean, let me just say on here, in short, you know, I don't know if there's much really the NFL can do about the culture in the locker rooms and all that, and monitoring it, but something needs to be done. There needs to be some more control. It's kind of like, you know, how the NCAA cites universities for lack of institutional control. That's what this is. You know, that's what needs here. The Dolphins clearly had a lack of institutional control when it came to the locker room culture, and I think that's maybe the way it is with a lot of NFL teams. We just haven't heard about. But there was clearly a lack of that, and that is why they are starting to fire people, not just because of the performance on the field, but they're starting to do that because of what happened. It paints a black mark on the Dolphins organization as a whole. So yeah, just changes need to be made and stuff needs to be done. And it was just a real big distraction for a team at Miami that was positioned to make the playoffs until they completely broke down and collapsed the final 2 games of the season. So changes need to be done. Changes need to be made. I hope, again, I've said on here, I hope Incognito plays when they're down again. I hope Martin finds a spot somewhere in the NFL to play if he could ever emotionally recover. But things need to be better controlled. Let's just say that. You know, and again in week 9, yeah, the Tom Brokaw, the breaking news. I always love to do that with the breaking news stories. You know, talking the Tom Brokaw voice. You know, I love I love doing that with, you know, Darren McFadden is injured. That was the thing I did. You know, shocker. You know, Darren McFadden was hurt again in week 9, so I played it up with the breaking news. You know, Tom Brokaw, and not to make, you know. Don't get me wrong, I don't want to make light of injuries. I don't want to be like that. But sometimes, you know, if it's the same guy year after year, you kind of have to take a lighthearted approach to it just a little bit, you know. Now, maybe I regret a little what I said of, you know, I think he might have had a concussion. I don't know. But in the NFL and concussions, that may have been a bit below the belt. But, you know, you know, you're just talking, you know, with all these injury histories that he's had so fast. And you think about it, you know, you don't really delve into what he had in the past. But that just kind of came out that way. So if any Darren McFadden fan or Raider fan or anybody took offense to that, sorry, but just, you know, Darren McFadden getting hurt, it happens every year, and you know, he's really fragile. Who else is going to take a chance on him if he never plays in Oakland again? So yeah, that's what happened there. The Week 10 video, that was the start of the Ryan Fitzpatrick saga, if you will. That was the start of that, and then we had in weeks 12 and 13, we had Mr. Mob Guy, with the glasses, make the appearance. Here I am, he made, with that. Again, that came completely on a whim. I didn't plan for that to happen. That just came all of a sudden. I just thought, okay, I'm going to grab these glasses. These are 3D glasses. These are real 3D glasses that I used to see the movie Frozen a couple weeks before that. But I said, okay, I'm talking about this guy Ryan Fitzpatrick. I've harped on him for the longest time. I'm just going to grab these glasses, use a Boston accent, and I'm just going to rip into the guy and then the Colts defense, and it just all flowed. So it just turned into that, where I became this mob guy, this Boston talking mob guy with this accent, and it just happened. And then the next week, I continued playing it up when Ryan Fitzpatrick had a good week, and I said, I said as mob guy he'd have a good week, and then he had a letdown and a bad week, and I said, what happened, Ryan? I pull you up, and now I'm writing you off again. It was just funny. So I don't know if you guys like the mob guy. I don't know if you want me to use more of him in the future, or or the Olbermann, or other isms that I've used, whatever. But it was fun. That was a fun thing to bring onto the show. And the Get Candy reference that Jerry Seinfeld used in his act, Chris Johnson, get candy, Jamal Charles, get candy. That's one of my favorites of Seinfeld's skits, to use. So I might keep bringing that back. That's fun to use as well, about the, what do they have in Tennessee? Chris Johnson, get candy. Jamal Charles, get candy. So that was fun to use this year as well. The Matt Flynn phone call. I mean, this is one of my favorite moments of the year. This right here. This was funny. And again, I don't know how, I just let things come to me. I just let it roll. I just let it come. You know, when the whole thing with the Packers quarterback situation and Rodgers was hurt and Wallace went down and they played Tolzien, and it's like, okay, now who are we going to call? And all the media was saying, make one easy phone call to Matt Flynn. And they were not making the phone call to Matt Flynn. And I'm thinking to myself, this is stupid. This is ridiculous. The guy's put up records in your Packer history book. Why are you not calling Matt Flynn? And they finally made the call to Matt Flynn, and it's like, okay, well, it's got to go something like this, you know. And I just went on it and said, yeah, hey, Matt, you know, you've done good things. And Matt Flynn was like on the other line, probably screaming out, I've set records for you. So that's where I took the whole thing, you know, with the record book and everything. But yeah, I don't know how Ted Thompson talks. I don't know what his accent is. Otherwise, I probably would have used the accent for that part. But I enjoyed doing that. I thought that was fun, and just getting, you know, a fun part of that in to poke at the Packers a little bit. So that was fun. I like doing that. Another funny thing that happened during that Week 10 video, the Trent Richardson trade and the fallout from that. You know, I couldn't stop laughing at this one either. This was one of my big freak out moments. You know, everybody was freaking out. Oh my gosh, the Colts got Trent Richardson. We're going to the Super Bowl. You know, and everything like that. And actually on that show, I was wearing. If you guys noticed in the video, if you watch it back, I was wearing my Super Bowl 41 champion shirt from the Colts. I was wearing it that show. So it was kind of ironic that I was, you know, praising the Trent Richardson trade in a joking way, of course. And, you know, we're going to the Super Bowl. And then the Trent Richardson starts running and put the brakes on the Super Bowl. And then I went to a Little John thing. You know, put the brakes on the Super Bowl. Okay. What? You know, I did the Little John thing at the end. I mean, it was just funny watching that back and seeing me freaking out like that. I usually don't want to freak out during a show or do something like that. It's really actually is kind of stupid, but you know, the reaction to the Trent Richardson trade, it was just crazy. It was just like everyone was just flipping out, like, you know, some explosion just happened. Twitter was just going freaky, and Facebook, and oh my gosh, Trent Richardson, what are the Browns doing? The Colts got their piece of the puzzle, going to the Super Bowl. Everyone was saying in the media, and I was just looking at it going, whoa, hang on, the Colts are my team, and I love the move, but he has to learn the playbook. He has to learn the system. He has to go through all of this stuff. And then you see the results of it, and it's like, duh. I mean, you know, slow your roll. Put the brakes on the Super Bowl talk. I mean, now they might still make a run this year with the playoffs and all, but it's not going to be because of Trent Richardson, folks. Sorry, it's not. So, and then I made the comment in Week 10, and I did take flack for this one from a Panther fan who actually follows my videos. But I said in Week 10 that I was not sold on Cam Newton. You know, for his performance the week before, and he kind of ripped into me for that. He said, you know, if you watched the Panthers game all year, have you know, done this, done that? And I replied back, I said, well, yes, I do. I watch Panthers games. I'm impressed with how they play, but he was playing a tough matchup that week. He, you know, I think he's going to do better next week. He's a fine player. Cam Newton is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I mean, bar none. He's one of the top guys. He puts up consistent numbers. Usually he's very reliable with his legs, with his throwing. He's doing great things in Carolina. So the only reason I said that for that week was because of the fact that, you know, he had struggled in that matchup, and the matchup with the week, it was tough. He had only like 5 points that week, and that's why I said to him in the reply, I clarified why I said that. So I appreciate the feedback I get from you guys. So some things I might say sometimes are wrong, and that's what fantasy is. It's fickle. It's a fickle game, and I might say something that is wrong, or somebody takes the wrong way, or whatever. We sometimes say things that people don't agree with or like, and you know, and I understand that. So this is an opinionated show. It's my opinion. So that's what I think, but you are free to disagree with it. So when I saw that, I thought, well, I don't want to start, you know, a war with this guy, but I actually say, you know, I took a breath and I said, okay, actually, here's why I said it. Here's the reasons why I said it. I have watched your team, and then he thankfully understood. So again, I love the feedback from you guys. So, but just understand that sometimes I might say things that maybe don't line up with what I have in front of me with research and everything like that. It changes. It's in flux. So just be aware of that. But I had to point that out because that happened this year. And then really toward the end of the year, the big things were the videos that I did with my fellow co-owners, with Nate and with Matt. They were a blast. They were a blast to make with those guys, my co-owners. So much fun to do those shows with those guys. You know, the other White Graham blooper by me. You know, and the Major Ballsage, that was a lot of fun. And the recap with Matt at the end, that was a lot of fun to do. So that's my list. That's my list of the moments that I've had from the year. So real quick, I want to kind of keep this under an hour. So real quick, I'm just going to share with you real quick the guys that I'm probably going to pick for our team awards for the year. And again, I think all three of us are going to get together this Sunday to go over this list together. Team MVP for us: Marshawn Lynch, Matt Ryan, Danny Woodhead, Keenan Allen. I think Beast Mode's going to be a shoe-in to win there for us. You know, he was our number one draft pick first round draft pick this year. He was the most consistent guy. I think he's going to win that. Best waiver wire pickup: Andy Dalton, Danny Woodhead, Keenan Allen, Andre Brown, Justin Tucker, Riley Cooper. A lot of good names in that list, but I'm probably going to go either one of the Chargers, either Woodhead or Keenan Allen. Again, because they did such big things for us as the season went along. I think you could make a case for Dalton. I think you can make a case for Cooper. But I think in terms of the whole season, I think it's going to be either Woodhead or Keenan Allen. Biggest season disappointment: Danny Amendola, Bears DST, Daryl Richardson, Monty Ball, Ryan Broyles, Justin Blackman. Again, a lot of people I think could win that award for us, but I'm probably going to vote I'll probably vote for either Amendola or Ball, because again, I drafted Ball to be a 4th round pick and the number 2 running back, and that didn't pan out. I drafted Amendola thinking he could be the number 2 wide receiver, and that didn't pan out because he kept getting injured and had inconsistent weeks. So for that reason alone, I think either one of those guys could be the pick there. The most heart-wrenching individual season moment: losing Shane Vereen to the wrist injury week 1, not seeing Monty Ball pan out, Danny Amendola getting injured, losing Julio Jones for the season. I think that's what I'm probably going to vote for, is losing Julio Jones, because even though in the long run it didn't hurt us, it still was painful because that was our number 1 weapon. That was our number 1 receiver, and every time you lose your number 1 receiver, it hurts. Also, losing Justin Blackman due to suspension and Vernon Davis's donut in the championship. That one could made a case for too. But I'll probably, though, vote for losing Julio Jones. Worst draft pick: again, kind of the same guys: Danny Amendola, Bears DST, Daryl Richardson, Vincent Brown. I have a feeling, though, that Monty Ball is going to win that award. Worst decision: again, drafting Monty Ball, playing too many defenses, giving up on Alshon Jeffrey. Now, that's how I'm probably going to vote, because, again, I'm taking a lot of heat for that. Drafting Daryl Richardson and not starting Andy Dalton in back-to-back weeks when we lost both times. But I think is giving up on Alshon Jeffrey. Best decision: drafting Marshawn Lynch, pairing Matt Ryan with Julio Jones, acquiring Danny Woodhead, acquiring Keenan Allen, playing the DSTs, and getting rid of Matt Ryan. I'm probably going to pick probably pairing Matty Ice with Julio. Again, that early on, that worked really well for us. And again, even though it didn't work down the line, I think it worked. If not that, probably drafting Marshawn Lynch, just because it was a huge thing to go running back 1st round. Best individual performance: Marshawn Lynch's 30 in week 2 plus the game-winning score. Andy Dalton's 30 in week 6. Riley Cooper's 22 in week 10. Josh McCown's 46 in week 14. Justin Tucker's 22 in the semifinal. Probably for me, it'll have to be Tucker's 22 in the semifinal, because that was where we really needed it most in the playoffs, and that was the kicker. Normally, you don't have a kicker coming through for you in the clutch in the fantasy playoffs, but he did for us. If not that, I think it's Marshawn Lynch's 30. Oddly enough, McCown's 46 came in a loss for us, so that was really kind of odd, but it's still a good performance. The Never Say Never player: this is a new award for best clutch player. The pairing of Matt Ryan and Julio Jones, Marshawn Lynch, Vernon Davis, Danny Woodhead, Andy Dalton. Again, this is tough, but I would probably, again, I'd lean either Lynch or, again, the Ryan Jones pairing, because they usually are so consistent. So that's how I lean with those guys. And the Mr. Reliable Award, this is the new award. This is for most consistent player. Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, Marshawn Lynch, Danny Woodhead, Keenan Allen. I think you can make a case for any 5 of those guys. Maybe not so much Ryan because he struggled down the stretch without Julio Jones. But again, there, I'm probably going to vote again, either for Lynch or for Woodhead, because the fact that they were very consistent over the course of the season. Probably will be Lynch, but who knows what the rest of the guys are going to vote. Okay, so that is it for this video, guys. I just want to say again, it has been an awesome year for the FFSR this past year. Looking back at all the moments from this year, it was a lot of fun to talk about that and just break everything down and then give you guys a look at what's coming up on the channel to come. So just stay tuned to the channel. We got a lot of exciting things coming up. As I mentioned, the Tracking the Madness next week the next video will be the best, worst, and disappointing games of 2013. Then the first Tracking the Madness video will be up next week, and then with the first bracket projection. And then in early February, we're going to be starting the Jaguars quarterback quest. We're going to break down the quarterbacks in the draft class this year and share 3 to 4 guys in each video and help the Jacksonville Jaguars find their next and hopefully their future quarterback of their franchise. So thank you guys again for a great 2013 on this channel. It was a blast as always doing the FFSR, and again as always we look forward to doing it again next year for the 2014 regular season. So again, thank you guys so much. Stay tuned to the channel and just God bless you guys, and thank you so much. Take care, and either where you are, stay warm, stay safe, and take care. Thanks guys.